All right, sports fans, it's Saturday afternoon, and my name is Gabriel Tellerino coming out here to talk a little bit of professional college sports. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff. I've been watching sports yesterday and today. A lot going on. The WNBA started, so I've been paying attention to that. Saw a great game earlier today. We'll talk a little bit about that on the next podcast. But there were three games that were on Friday that I was paying attention to. The NBA playoffs are still going, man. We'll talk about San Antonio's big old win against Minnesota. I saw that game. And got a lot of stuff going on today, too. Some UFC, some WWE. We've got some MLB, paying attention to a couple games there. Astros got a big win last night. That was good to see. Then you've got some WNBA, like I said, and some softball. So a lot of stuff going on today. I've got all the monitors going on. I'm watching Texas right now. On one monitor, I'm watching the Pistons and the Cavaliers. On one monitor, on the big monitor here, I've already got it on Backlash for tonight, and then later tonight, I'm going to be watching some UFC as well. So a lot of stuff going on. But yesterday, some big games that were going on. In particular, I was paying attention to Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The NBA playoffs, round number 2. San Antonio and Minnesota. Minnesota got game 1 in San Antonio, which kind of, for me, it was like, okay, they win game 1. Anthony Edwards really didn't play a lot of minutes. What are they going to do in game 2? They came out in game 2, played really well. Won big. I thought that big win in game 2 for San Antonio built some confidence. That's a young team, right? So losing game 1, how would that affect them in game 2? Minnesota's looking pretty good. Hey, we feel good. We won game 1, so let's go out there and play. If we win game 2, probably going to win the series. San Antonio had to win game 2. But I felt like if San Antonio won game 2, but they just barely won, like they didn't play their best game, or Minnesota lost game 2, but they were right in it, going to the next 2 in Minnesota, I thought, man, how much confidence will San Antonio have? They had to really get into a dogfight and win one at home. They lost the other one at home. But that big win that they got for me in San Antonio in game 2, for me, a young team, I thought, okay, that built confidence in them, right? Whether Minnesota played well, whether they gave the effort or didn't, to me was like, for San Antonio, that's a big win. That's a big statement for a young team that builds confidence in a bunch of young guys. Now we're going over there. We know we can win big. That may help out. Now, I said they need 1 out of 2, whichever one. Game 3 is usually the one you can steal. So would they be able to get that? Man, they got game 3 to win. It was a great game to watch too. I got to tell you. I mean, when I look at everything that San Antonio did, they defeated Minnesota 115-108 to lead the series 2-1. The player stats for San Antonio, man, Victor Wembanyama. God, this guy, I keep talking about him. When you're 7'4" and you play the way he plays, right? Like, I just think it's like inside, he's a hard person to guard because he's tall. Obviously, height is huge, right? But he's not only that he's tall, he knows the game, right? He's like a 7'4" who can play every position, right? He's got guard skills. We've seen him, the way he dribbles the ball. I mean, the guys that are guarding him, if you're another 7-foot guy that don't have the athleticism that Victor does, he's going to eat your lunch up, right? Because this guy is 7'4" and plays like a guard, right? So he's got great dribbling skills. He can step back. He can shoot the 3. If he gets past you, it doesn't take him very much. He's very long. He gets to the rim really quickly. And I think for San Antonio, once he does that pick and roll and he rolls in, all you got to do is really lob it up, right? Because he's going to get it. And if he doesn't get the basket, there's a good chance he's going to get fouled. Just very hard to guard him. And I said offensively for me, when Victor plays great, the San Antonio Spurs got a great chance to win. But for me, it's on the defensive side. He's huge for San Antonio on the defensive side because in a couple of games that I've seen him here in the playoffs, man, when he goes and sits, and by the way, his minutes have gone up. He was playing like 29 minutes or so. Now it's up to like 39, 40 because now you're seeing when he goes out, man, these teams, they just go in and drive in at will. Now, I like Cornette, but Cornette is nowhere near what or possesses the fear that Victor Wembanyama. So when Victor sits down, teams just go all in. And if you're up 15, we've seen it where they can cut that easily, quickly, right? Victor gets a little bit of rest and has to come back. So when he's in the lineup, in that area, in the paint, defending, it just changes the other team's offense. They struggle inside to have to shoot, right? They've got to shoot more outside shots probably than they prefer. And the thing is if you're struggling to shoot that outside and you can't get inside to get the shots that you want because Victor can either block it or, alter the shot, man, that's not good for the other offense. So Victor's huge for San Antonio on the defensive side, right? Whatever he gives you on the offensive side, like last night, man, that's a huge plus. But I think San Antonio can win offensively, even if Victor has a bad game offensively, right? Because they've got other weapons, they've got a good bench, they've got other guys that can score. But when Victor's not in, it's on the defensive side that hurts. So what I'm saying is if Victor doesn't have a good offensive night, obviously San Antonio, I think, can still win. But on the defensive side is where I think he's really critical in the playoffs because that's where he really helps San Antonio get these wins. And like I said, they got the big win last night to lead the series 2-1. But let's talk about his player stats. Victor Wembanyama, he played 37 minutes, scored 39 points, shooting 13 of 18 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point range, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks. That's huge, man. This guy did it all for San Antonio. He won Game 3 for San Antonio and gives them that 2-1 series lead. But for Minnesota, Anthony Edwards played 41 minutes, scored 32 points, shooting 12 of 26 from the field, 14 rebounds. So Anthony Edwards was a dog, right? Played a great game. And I don't know if you're saying, he played great and they still lost, right? So the two studs on both teams played well. San Antonio able to get the win. Game 4 is scheduled on Sunday, May 10th, right? So, I hope San Antonio wins Game 4 because if they win Game 4, the series is over. It's over. They'll Minnesota be down 3-1, and they're not going to beat San Antonio if they go down. So this, to me, is a must-win for Minnesota. Anthony Edwards played great, 32 points. He's going to play 40-plus minutes in this next game unless he gets injured because they need him. But it's the other guys. It's Julius Randle. It's McDaniels. It's those guys. Those role players are gonna have to pick it up for them to win Game 4. Like you saw, Anthony Edwards can't beat San Antonio by himself. Just can't. And that's because the rest of the guys really didn't play well. It was Victor Wembanyama that really got going. So, we'll see how that plays out in Game 4. But for me, I hope San Antonio comes out and plays well and gives themselves a chance to win. But I do feel like Minnesota's going to come out. They're going to put it all on the line because they know Minnesota understands if they lose Game 4, it's over. They're not going to win 3 in a row. So they got to come out and win. And I think the role players are going to play better. And I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a big game. But I think some of these other guys that you have not seen have a big game are definitely they're going to bring the energy. So let's see if San Antonio is content with the 2-1 and they don't bring the energy, or let's see if they do, right? It's a young team, so they just go out and they play. So I like where San Antonio's sitting at now. I would love for them to win Game 4. I hope they come out with the energy, but I think Minnesota's going to come out with a lot of energy. I think they're going to come out with a sense of urgency because it's a must-win for them to stay in this series to give themselves a chance to win. So we'll see how all that plays out. The New York Knicks defeated the Philadelphia 76ers 108-94. The Knicks lead the series 3-0. Player stats for New York. Jalen Brunson was a man, played 38 minutes, scored 33 points, shooting 11 of 22 from the field. Philadelphia 76ers, Kelly Oubre Jr. played 36 minutes, scored 22 points, shooting 7 of 16 from the field. Game 4 is Sunday. So I thought Philadelphia, after beating Boston, was gonna make this a series. I was really, especially if Embiid played, right? Like I was like, okay, if them beating Boston, this to me, Boston and New York, I would have if Philadelphia's healthy, I want to see Philadelphia because of Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe against Brunson, Carl Anthony. I thought that's going to go 6 or 7, right? And that hasn't been the case. Now, game 1, they got blown out. Okay, you just came back from a tough series that it took all your energy to have to beat Boston. I understood they laid an egg in game 1. New York gets a big win. But then in game 2, they lost again. And I really thought coming into game 3, I thought that they had a really good chance to win both games at home and make this a series, kind of like they did with Boston. But watching them last night, they were able to hold. And to me, for them to win, Tyrese Maxey has to have 30-plus points. He can't have what he had. That's not enough for them to win. Even though all of the starters for Philadelphia were in double digits, it wasn't even enough, right? So down 3-0. This isn't the Boston Celtics. Maybe they win game 4 tomorrow. I mean, they can come out. I don't know how New York will come out. I mean, if I'm New York, I try to end it in 4, get all the rest I can, and let the other two teams go at it, Detroit and Cleveland, because Detroit's up 2-0 in that series. And if they win today, then they're probably going to sweep Cleveland as well. But if I'm New York, I try to finish it tomorrow and rest. But I don't know how New York will come out. Philadelphia does have a chance, I guess, to win Game 4, but I'm not giving them any chance to win this series. I just don't think they can win 4 in a row against New York, man. I mean, the fans in New York would go absolutely crazy if New York lost this series, but I really don't see a scenario where that will happen. Plus, New York is playing great basketball, like they're really playing great. Now, this is again, I've been on the record as saying here on my podcast, I am not a Knicks fan by any means, but I did think, and I do think, I did think when the season first started, and I still think today, they're the best team in the East. I felt like even when Jason Tatum came back, I felt like they were still the better team. They were the more healthy team. When you saw what happened to Milwaukee this year and Indiana and Boston with all those injuries, right? You looked at Cleveland, you looked at Detroit, still young. I said, man, this is New York's opportunity to get to the finals. They're the best team in the East, and I was always, kind of on them because, the way they played. I thought that they should have been the first seed. They were not. And not until recently here have they started to play like I thought they could play. They're playing like a team now that should represent the East in the NBA Finals, right? So it's good to see them play that way. It's been a consistent now that they've been playing this way. And if they continue to play this way, they're going to sweep the series. They're going to beat Philadelphia tomorrow if they come out with that same energy. Now, again, sometimes they tend to, we haven't seen it here in the last couple of games, but they do tend to kind of get back into that old move where they don't play very well, turn the ball over. They don't come out with a lot of energy. And look, Philadelphia is still a very dangerous team, right? Like, I don't think they'll win the series, but if they win Game 4, they're very capable of winning Game 5, right? They do have the players. They're a very talented team. Maxey could get going. They've got some dudes over there. You saw what they did to Boston. So if I'm New York, I'm not sure I want to give this team an opportunity to come back. And, because right now I don't think they feel very highly of themselves. Hey, look, man, we're really, really down. So you need to come out in Game 4 and just end it. Don't give these guys any hope, right? Because if Embiid stays healthy, they are dangerous, I think, But I just think they dug themselves too much of a hole to come back to win 4 in a row against a New York team that has been playing really good. as of late, right? So I don't. I just think New York's going to end up in the East Conference, the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. And depending if Cleveland can get the win today, because they've got to win two. Because to me, if Detroit wins one, because they're coming in to Cleveland today, 2-0, up 2-0. So if Cleveland loses one of the two at home, the series is over. If Detroit can get either game 3 today or game 4, I think on Monday, they're going to win the series. So Cleveland needs to win both at home so they can get themselves back in the series. But I have Detroit winning that series. I have New York winning this series. I have San Antonio winning their series. And, of course, OKC. The Lakers, they may win one without Luka, but they're not going to win the series. They're not going to beat OKC. They're just too darn tough. So, yeah. So that's the way it's going to look. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if that happens. That was my prediction when this round started. So, kudos to New York, man. I'm not a fan, but you guys are playing like I thought you should play. You're the best team in the East. Let's go to the MLB. The Los Angeles Dodgers were taking on the Atlanta Braves in a 3-game series. Cavaliers just beat the Pistons, so 35 points from Donovan Mitchell. So 2-1. They get one win. They get the win. They get game 3 win like they needed to. We'll see if they can come back on Monday and get game 4. So Cleveland does win today, so they do. Now the series is 2-1. Detroit still up. So let's go back to the MLB. Right, I was paying attention to the Dodgers and the Braves. I believe right now currently the 2 best teams in the National League. The Dodgers get a win 3-1 in game 1. Game 2 is today. My Houston Astros defeated the Cincinnati Reds 10-0, but I'm still disappointed. Too many injuries. Like, I don't know what's going on with Houston. Correa now is out. Jeremy Pena has been hurt. Most of our pitchers have been hurt. I know sometimes people say, "Well, we start off slow." It just feels a little different with Houston. So it was good to win 10-0, but I'm not happy with the way we're coming. It's a long season. I know it's a long season, and I mean, teams have their ups and downs. Maybe Houston is having theirs early on. At least I hope that's what it is. I'm still paying a lot of attention to them, still watching their games, but right now it's disappointing. I was hoping we'd have a better start than what we've had now. But again, it is a long season, so let's see what happens in the next month or so. See if we can turn things around. We'll see. But they do get game 1 win over the Reds 10-0. And then I talked about the WNBA. The New York Liberty defeated Connecticut Suns 106-75. So if you love the WNBA, man, you definitely want to pay attention to this podcast because I'm going to talk a lot about the WNBA. I've gotten into it the last 2 years. And because I get in and watch college, women's college basketball, and a lot of those girls now, or women, I should say, ended up at the WNBA. So I follow them. So I pay a lot of attention, man. And so if you like WNBA, this is a podcast you definitely want to. I'm going to give you my input, talk about players and their performance, and of course, what I think about teams. There's teams I like. There's teams I don't like. There's players I like. There's players I really don't care much for. So I'm going to put all that out here on the 100, right? So if you like the WNBA, definitely tune into this podcast because I'll be talking about them throughout the whole season. Season just started Friday, the regular season. So New York gets a big win. Breanna Stewart played 28 minutes, scored 31 points. Man, she was bad. She was a stud. 31 points, shooting 10 of 17 from the field. Had 10 rebounds. The Washington Mystics defeated Toronto Tempo 68-65. The Golden State Valkyries defeated the Seattle Storm 91-80. So, like I said, if you like that, there's some players that we're going to talk a lot about. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm a Paige Bucher fan. I'm a Ozzie Fudd fan. So we'll talk more about some of the players that I like, some of the players that I'm not too fond of. But man, it's I think it's going to be a great WNBA season, and every night I'm going to be watching the games and paying attention and coming on and talking about them. And then on softball, I was watching softball yesterday, watching my Lady Longhorns play, and they were taking on Georgia. Georgia was coming off that big win over Oklahoma, which was surprising to me, right, for the SEC championship game. So I was kind of like, They beat Oklahoma. Texas might have a little bit of problem. Texas coming off that win of Ole Miss. Tegan Kavan was going to come back and pitch again. She pitched the whole game against OSU, so I was a little concerned how much would she still have left against a really good Georgia team. But she pitched, I think, up to the 4 innings. She really shut down that offense. Then they got some runs off of her. They bring in another, I think it was Gutierrez, if I remember correctly. I'll have to double check. But they brought in another pitcher, sat down Tegan, and she was able to hold the next couple of innings, no runs. And then Texas gets some timely hitting when they needed it, and they ended up getting the win. So they advance over to play today against Alabama. So Tegan is back in the circle for Texas. They were up 2-1 when I got onto this podcast, so I really don't know. It's over here on this side. I'm not paying attention to it because I'm on the podcast. I'll definitely pay attention as soon as I get off. But they were winning 2-1. So the winner between Alabama and Texas will be the SEC championship. So hopefully Texas can get that. And I'll come on tomorrow and I'll talk about the Texas Alabama game tomorrow. But it was a great win for Texas to beat Georgia. Georgia was coming in really hot, man. Like I said, when you beat a really good Oklahoma team, man, you think you're going to come in and you can beat Texas. So I was really concerned about Georgia, especially when Tegan, they sat her down in mid about fourth, or I think it was fourth inning when they took her out. And I was like, okay, now Georgia's just going to have fun with us. Because the one thing about Texas, their offense is great. They can play with anybody in college softball. I just don't think they have another pitcher that's needed like Tegan, right? Like they haven't found that other second pitcher. I think that can pick up the slack. I think pitching wise, Tegan is it, right? Like she's elite. We saw what she did last year, winning the championship. I think we got some good pitchers, but I don't know if we have that other great pitcher that's needed. They had Mac Morgan, I should say, last year. She graduated, right? She was huge. You saw, and that's why they won that championship, because when they needed her to be good for a couple of innings of her game, she was able to produce for Texas, right, on top of the other ones that they had. So Mac Morgan, I felt last year, was really good for Texas, giving them what they needed. And then they had Tegan. So I thought they had the hitting and the pitching. Mac Morgan, with the ends up leaving the program. Graduates, right? And now I don't think they found that other consistent pitcher that they really need when Tegan is not on. So that's what kind of concerns me a little bit about Tegan is when she's great, but when she's not on, we don't have that other pitcher, or when we give her a rest against these elite teams, Oklahoma, Alabama. The SEC is tough, right? So I think that's what kind of worries me. The pitching, how good is it when we get into the playoffs and play some of these great offenses? If Tegan's not on, what do we have? Or when we have to give her a rest, especially in these series, how are we going to match up? So pitching-wise, I'm concerned. Offensively, I'm not. I think we're just going to have to be able to score a lot of runs to be able to win these games if we want to go back-to-back championship game. But I'll talk more about that as we get into the playoffs for the softball. But right now, Texas in the SEC championship against Alabama, and they were up 2-1. I don't know. They may be up more now, or they may be down. I'll check it here when I get off. But just wanted to come in and touch bases with this podcast. Again, it's the GT Sports. Keep it 100, where I talk, and I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you how I feel. I'll tell you the teams I like and the teams I don't like. But listen, I'm happy about San Antonio, man. I think I want to see San Antonio in a series with OKC. Now, some people tell me, man, look, they're too young. And I understand that teams have to take their poundings. Every team does before they get, to the level of becoming a champion. But this team feels a little different, man. And Victor Wembanyama, he's a handful for any defense, any defense, right? Like, because he's so smart, he's athletic, and he has an impact on both sides. And I think when Victor's there, and whether he has a big game or not, like he did last night, just on the court, he draws so much attention that I think he makes the game easier for Castle, for Vassell, for Champagne, for these other guys. So when Victor is on the court, because you have to pay it so much, he draws so much attention. I think he really helps the other players get going, right? De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson. So I think that's where that comes from. So whether he's having a big game or not, just his presence on the court offensively, because he can do so much, draw so much attention, it really opens things up for the other players. So I think he's critical. And like I said, I think San Antonio can win even if he's off. He doesn't have a big night because they've got other weapons. Like I said, they pay attention to him, helps other people get open and get open looks, open shots. I think just the game becomes easier for his teammates, for the other players around. They've got a good bench. But it's on the defensive side, I think, where he really makes the impact for San Antonio as they try to get to the championship and win one this year. His team's just going in there. He alters the shot knowing he's there, or he'll block the shot, right? And so I just think he's a difference maker defensively. And this is the reason why they had the success they had this year. And if they're going to get to the championship, win this series, and beat OKC, it's going to be because Victor Wembanyama and what he can do on the defensive side. And then when he has a game like he did and scores almost 40 points, and has that game like he did in Game 3, it just makes the San Antonio Spurs even tougher to beat. So we'll go to Game 4 tomorrow, man. I mean, yeah, it's Game 4 tomorrow, and I hope San Antonio gets the win. I hope they come out with energy. If they lose, I won't be mad because we're going back. We got home court again. But it sure would be nice if they win Game 4. And if they do, this series is over, and it's going to be between San Antonio and OKC. But that's tomorrow. We'll check it out. I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to watch all these other games. I've got a lot. I mean, I'm going to be up till after midnight watching all these other games. And so I'll come back on at some point tomorrow, probably later in the evening, and I'll talk about all the games that I watched, the softball games that were played, the 2 NBA playoff games that were played. We got some UFC that we'll talk about tomorrow. Big fight tonight, and then we'll talk about the backlash. The scheduled match is going to be some good ones tonight, and then we'll talk about baseball as well. So all that tomorrow here on GT Sports. Keep it 100, man. Enjoy if you're watching the games like me, man. And we'll talk tomorrow. Have a good evening.